Okay, I hope my screen is now visible. Jivisha.
Yes, it is visible.
Okay, I can see that participants are still joining, so we'll wait maybe for 1 or 2 more minutes and then start with the session. In the meantime, it would be great if the participants can introduce themselves in the chat box. You can let us know where you're from and what is your background. Okay, so without further delay, I'll start with the session then. Meanwhile, you guys can introduce yourself in the chat box. So, hello everyone, a very warm greeting to one and all. I'm Sri Gauri, and I would like to welcome you all to the mentor guided webinar on how interdisciplinary thinking revolutionized the academic research, a talk given by Dr. Imtiaz Hassan. Now, before we begin, let me take a brief moment to introduce you to the team behind the webinar. We are India and US based bioinformatics and data science company, and we have had the wonderful opportunity to collaborate and partner with esteemed universities and industries across the globe. And as a part of our mission, our team is working with regional and international mentors that are helping refine program logistics and adapting them to the needs of students and researchers around the world. Now, to meet the ever evolving demand of skilled bioinformaticians and data scientists, we have created innovative training and research offerings, including online courses, training programs and workshop, research internship and fellowship, research services for faculties, scientists, as well as a dedicated degree program. And we have some incredible lineup of workshops coming up on topics ranging from molecular modeling, clinical genomics, metagenomics, to even RNA-seq data analysis. More on this we'll be happy to cover towards the end of the webinar. So as discussed in my previous slide, one of the resources for learning that we offer are courses. So what do these contain? Courses include textual and visual aids such as diagrams, infographic, and videos, short tutorials, and practical demonstrations that are also provided to provide hands-on learning, while coding exercises help students to develop technical skills. And at the end of the course, students can earn digital certificates, which they can later add to their resume, LinkedIn profiles, digital portfolios, and so on. And all of these courses, they are fully automated and compiled into comprehensive lesson. But many times students also require video of mentors that are going through these topics and explaining the concepts and doing hands-on. So for such students, we have training programs and workshops which include combination of lecture videos, expert tutorials, and guided lessons. These training materials are designed to align with modern industry relevant curriculums, ensuring that students are able to gain practical skills that are applicable in today's academic and professional settings. And this has two aspects: workshop, which include live mentor guided sessions, and training programs, which comprises of recorded lecture videos. Now, here's a brief summary of the various open source tools and technologies that are covered throughout our programs and courses. And these are common tools that are used by researchers worldwide. And there are so many more tools that we cannot cover through slides alone. Now, we often get questions about students who are interested in doing research. So, we also conduct a mentor guided research program that offers students with an opportunity to work on a bioinformatics research project under the guidance of a mentor. And let me walk you through a few examples on how students have leveraged the resources to achieve their academic and professional goals. So here we can see a cohort of students from Systems Medicine graduate program at Georgetown University who worked on machine learning projects using Python. Students have also went on to present their research project in poster presentation competitions to win exciting cash prizes. Students also join to get a research publication done that gives them this extra competitive edge over other students while applying for higher studies or in the job market. And one of the unique highlights is that faculties and researchers have also collaborated to carry out publication, and it is also possible to pursue an entrepreneurship and business innovation track if you're someone with a knack for business and science. Now, I just wanted to quickly take you to the OmicsLogic Learn platform and show you what these resources are. Jivisha, can you? Thank you. that you can explore and go through it. So I'll just quickly stop sharing my screen and walk you through this. So this is the OmicsLogic Learn platform. I can see some familiar faces, participants who are already part of our community and who are going through the resources. But I can also see some participants who have joined for the first time. So for them, you can just head over to this platform, OmicsLogic, and create an account like so. So you can just click on create an account, enter your name, email ID, password, and create an account. Or you can also log in using any of your existing social media handles. So if you already have an account, just click on login now, enter your existing email ID and password, and then you can log in. So I've already created an account, so I'll just proceed with my existing Google account. So once you log in, the very first page that you see is the courses. So we have a lot of participants who are enthusiastic to learn about bioinformatics and several other omics field. So if you're someone who is complete beginner and want to get started, we also provide a free course on Introduction to Bioinformatics that you can go through, which is course 1, Introduction to Bioinformatics. I'll just quickly open one of these lessons to show you how it looks like, the structure. So as I mentioned, it includes short tutorials, there are short assignments, quizzes that will help enhance your learning experience. And apart from that, we also have some courses that are technology driven and also some that are application focused. So one of the most popular interest among students is on RNA-seq data analysis. So I'll just quickly open one of these coursework on transcriptomics and show you how these are put together. So these include workflows. There are open source scientific tools and databases that we are covering throughout the lessons. And all of these are compiled into comprehensive lessons. So just now I'm just opening one of the lessons on pre-processing. So as you can see, there are guided tutorials on how each of these step-by-step work can be done. There are explanations for the various outputs that you get. And finally, all of these are summarized into short summaries that you can go through to further refresh your memory. So this is just a quick glimpse that I wanted to give you. If you have any questions based on any of your interests that you want to go through, I'll be happy to cover it towards the end of the webinar and any questions that you might have. But as for the highlight of today, we are joined, just a second. As a highlight for today we are joined by Dr. Imtaiyaz Hassan, who is an eminent figure in the area of structural biology and drug discovery, currently holding the position of professor at the Center for Interdisciplinary Research in Basic Sciences from Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. And with a scholarly journey spanning over 1.5 decades, Professor Hassan is a focused researcher with a broad spectrum of academic interest in the area of drug designing and discovery. Employing a multidisciplinary approach, his group seamlessly integrates experimental, computational, molecular, and cellular biology techniques to design high-affinity inhibitors with minimal side effect. So for today's session, we'll be talking about how interdisciplinary thinking revolutionized the academic research. And so without further delay, I'll pass on the stage to Dr. Hassan. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
And I think my video is visible. Yes.
Yes, sir.
So it's my pleasure to interact with the young minds, and especially at this stage, a student need to be very much effective in terms of their way how they have to extend their study. So I think this is the best idea that I can discuss a very emerging topics that's today's need. So let me share the slide and then I'll So is it visible now?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
So it's interdisciplinary field is one of the very important field in the way that if you change your thinking, the way of thinking, then you will become a real successor in your life. So generally, if you compare the people from the successful and unsuccessful, you find a major difference of the ideas, thinking, way of the thinking. And that comes only because of the interdisciplinary way of the thinking. So today's I'm going to ignite the young minds that how the interdisciplinary thinking had revolutionized their study as well as their, I mean, whatever subject you are doing, pursuing your career, it could be applied for everywhere. So generally people have a discipline. You have done BSc, MSc, PhD from a particular discipline, and that's what they call the discipline. And so what is the discipline? First, we have to understand. And discipline is the like the physics, chemistry, biology, and whatever the subject you have, you belongs to that subject. And by definition, it is a distinctive subject matter, a distinctive methodology, an area of expertise where you become a practitioner of that particular area, and it is ultimately a mission. So now the question is that does the disciplinary
Camera is
thinking,
gone.
yeah. So, but if you integrate different discipline together and develop a mixed kind of thinking, develop mixed thinking, that's called the interdisciplinary research, you can see. So interdisciplinary research is what actually, it is actually staying on the pillar of different disciplines, depending on what kind of topic you are going to do. But the pillar is actually the foundation is of the interdisciplinary thinking is the actually different disciplines. And that makes you completeness, aptitude, knowledge, skill methods. It becomes a new way of the thinking. So if a person, if your thought become interdisciplinary, it will give you a different way of the flavor. Like in the terms of learning, you will understand a particular discipline, and learning experience from that different discipline give you a new opportunities. And it will reflect real application of your life, especially varied from the perspective, communication, flexibility, and capability of the critical thinking. So interdisciplinary is actually one of the finest way of the thinking, and it is firmly rooted to the discipline. If you have the idea of the particular discipline, I mean, interdisciplinary doesn't make the idea that you are stick to only the every discipline, but it is actually combination of different disciplines. So it's the firmly rooted to the particular discipline, and each subject is not the end and efficient tool. We must keep to identify the especially their own methodology. So every subject, every way discipline have their own uniqueness. But if we combine the different unique feature together, you becomes a more your idea would be more novel and more applicable. So that's what on that basis we construct a serious interdisciplinary team. If we have the good idea of the discipline, then we can make the serious disciplines. And interdisciplinary thinking actually refers to the ability to integrate knowledge and mode of thinking of two or more disciplines to generate the new insights. I mean, from the two different things, we develop a third type of thinking. And that's what the innovation happens at the intersection of the discipline. So because all the subjects, what were the disciplines going on, these all are the saturated nowadays, if you see separately, all the research, all the discoveries happened. But if the people becomes interdisciplinary, the chances of discovery, chances of survival, chances of sustainable development is more and more if you become the interdisciplinary. So I'm beginning from the history. If you see the history and you all recognize these great people, what's the common bit among all of them? You find they all thought their thinking was interdisciplinary. They are not one subject specialist. Like if you talk about the Einstein, someone say it is the physicist. He was a physicist, but he was mathematician also. He was chemist also. If he thinks only from the level of physics, he can't be able to solve the issue. Like the Newton, any great personality, if you see, they have developed the interdisciplinary thinking. And that's what they are great. So if you go to the history also, you find all the great people, all the innovators, they thought differently and they integrates different disciplines together. And that's what they are still remembered for their best discoveries across the globe. Now, mostly students get confused with the interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary. So there is a sharp difference between the interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary. Interdisciplinary, it means what? Let me make the pointer. So if you have one work and many people have to come together, it's called the multidisciplinary. For example, if you have to make a road, so the people from the different discipline come together and develop a road, like the people from the electrical engineer, they see how the electric wire should goes there. People from the, uh, then a civil engineer see how the pipeline will goes, and ultimately the road constructor. So it is a combination of the different people work together to make one particular objective. That's called the multidisciplinary. But interdisciplinary is the simply A and B that give rise to C. Here the integrity of A, B, C all are remain same. But here the interdisciplinary is the way of the new thinking. It is the amalgamation of two different fields to develop the new field. So that's the major difference between the interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary, like the research, teaching, or problem solving that integrates several disciplines to create a unified thinking. Now the next question, what are the advantages of the interdisciplinarity, especially if you are a teacher, if you integrate your interdisciplinary module in your teaching, you are a good teacher. If you are a student, I find most of you are the student. So if you are a student, you develop interdisciplinary learning, then you become a good student. Like the interdisciplinary program arises from the conviction that the traditional discipline are unable to address the issue. So a single discipline, a particular discipline is unable to address that problem. That's what you need to go through the different angles, and that's what you have to integrate the different discipline together to get the new ideas. And also interdisciplinary program give you a platform to for the research and development. And many new emerging technology have nowadays taken as a subject matter, but they are purely interdisciplinary. For example, nanotechnology is the one of the most emerging field, but it is the integration of physics, chemistry, material science, mathematics, biology, and all the fields together integrated. That's what the nanotechnology is, one of the most interdisciplinary area. Like for example, for the nanotechnology, you need to quantum information that amalgamates the quantum physics level understanding of the material as well as their biological implication. Similarly, bioinformatics is another very interdisciplinary area where you can integrate. I think initially Shubhangana was talking about the bioinformatics platform. So bioinformatics is one of the most interdisciplinary area where you need the knowledge of mathematics, biology, genomics, proteomics, or omics, multi-omics technology, as well as equally level you need the information technology. Imaging science, all the MRI and all those, if you go to the medical doctor, your whatever, diagnostic, you go through the MRI and all those different types of imaging technology, it all amalgamates the different discipline together. So these are some of the major revolution in the field was observed only because of the interdisciplinary thinking. I'll give you the very basic example of the interdisciplinary evolution, and you can see. So you all have used the ice cream. All are the funny people likes the ice cream. So initially, this cone and ice cream was sold separately. So people usually sell it separately. What happened? There was a one football match, and one guy is selling ice cream, one guy is selling this. But there was much demand, so the guy who was selling the ice cream, they finished their paper. They don't have much enough paper to sell it. So then he thought get the idea कि क्यों ना मैं बगल वाले से ये ले लूं, and then he asked the other person कि थोड़ा ये मुझे दे दो, मैं इसमें बेचता हूँ. And then he started selling this, and ultimately you come up with this new idea, and nowadays it is very common. So this is the best example to understand what is the interdisciplinary. And now you enjoyed the taste of this ice cream. Now the next question, what will students need to be successful in their world? Student को successful होना है तो how they change their attitude of the learning, and that makes you the success. And that's actually where the interdisciplinary does matter a lot, like the high capacity of abstract and conceptual thinking that one student has to develop, and the ability to apply this thinking to the real world problem. The ability to function in an environment where the communication skills are vital, and ability to work easily well with the others to resolve the conflict. So students are in fact taught in such a way that the integrated curriculum, interdisciplinary curriculum, that will give you the more and more learning. And if you are unable to find a teacher who can be able to serve you in this way, you can also develop your attitude to develop the interdisciplinary learning approaches. Why it is needed? Why it is so important? Interdisciplinary learning is so important because it develops a holistic view of the concept to the issue. For example, if you have one concept, if you just recall your classes, teacher will always compare your example with the something in daily life. That's also one of the example of the interdisciplinary, because you connect, you can easily connect. If you want to connect the electron proton in that shell, something could be the daily life you can get, and your teacher will connect, then you will easily understand. So that's what, to develop a holistic view, a guy should be having the interdisciplinary approach. They can get much easier learning in comparison to the only subject. And also it becomes a lifelong learner and problem solver. Then it gains intellectually rigor with the view of the knowledge and understand and address the complex issue. Because if you see the complex issue, for example, I'm talking about the example, the mathematics, mostly biological people are having the phobia of the mathematics. But there are a lot of equations that can solve your problem in a very easy way if you use the mathematical modeling. Many biological complex issues are solved by the mathematician. And then, so now, how can it be possible? If some person is developing only mathematical model, can they be able to solve the biological issue? No. They have to learn the biology also. Similarly, if the biologists want to do some modeling, they have to learn the mathematics also. So that's what, if a person who knows the biology as well as mathematics together, they become the best solver of the complex issues related to the biology and mathematics interface. Similarly, you can integrate many disciplines together and you can see the person who is the expert of two or more disciplines. They are a good teacher, they are a good researcher, they are a good problem solver. Now I'll give you the best example. And this is a story you all, I think, are familiar, that there are many blind person and they are asked to see how elephant looks like. So those who touch their, this he said it's a kind of big snake. Those who touch their leg, they say it's a tree. Those who touch their trunk, they say it is a wall of the leather. Those who touch the tail, they say it's a furry mouse, and like that. So similarly, it happened. It's the best example to connect with you the idea that how the interdisciplinary and the unidisciplinary. So if you are expert of one discipline, you can think, you can see only from your one eyes, or like these blind people see. But if you are having the interdisciplinary approach of the learning, you can visualize it and then you can see the real picture of the elephant. That's the major difference between the single discipline and interdiscipline. I'll give you some success story, example of the success stories of the, you all know the Watson and Crick, because I know this is you are in a platform of the bioinformatics. So Watson and Crick both are physicists. They are the guys from the physics, and they have solved the issue of the structure of the DNA. So a physics guy actually understands the crystallography properly, and that's what the crystallography was applied to solve the crystal structure of the DNA. And from, if we see the major revolution in the molecular biology was started after the discovery of the crystal structure of the DNA. Similarly, you have learned about the protein synthesis, and this guy Venki Ramakrishnan, he got the 2008 Nobel Prize, and he was also a physicist guy, and he given the structural basis of the protein synthesis, structure of ribosome and all the complexes, how the protein synthesis occurs. Then Linus Pauling, nobody knows what is his field. Physics guy say he's from the physics, chemistry guy say he's from the chemistry, biologist say it is biologist, because his contribution was amazing. Many of you know the alpha helix. Alpha helix structure was given by Linus Pauling. The concept of chemical bonding given by Linus Pauling. That's what. And also vitamin C, role of vitamin C in human health, given by Linus Pauling. So he's one of the great scientists, and he have no subject. He is the having the every subject. And you might be not be familiar with this if at that time the working area of the Watson Crick and this Linus Pauling are all overlapping. And at that time, they are both are companion to each other. And if the Watson Crick read their paper on alpha helix, then the structure of DNA was solved much earlier in comparison to 1953. So that's what his contribution to the structural biology, computational biology. Nowadays, you are doing a lot of modeling. That's all the modeling concept, chemical bonding, all comes from the research work done by the Linus Pauling. Similarly, I can give you many names like the Carey Mullis. He is the chemist actually, and PCR. Everybody use in biology. PCR is one of the backbone of the biological research. Was given by the Carey Mullis. Max Perus. He determined the first crystal structure of the protein, and he was a physics guy. Frederick Sanger, DNA sequencing, protein sequencing, all are the biological material done by a chemist. So if you are the subject matter expert, it doesn't matter how interdisciplinary is your approach. That matters because you can apply your ideas. Okay, I can do these things in this way. That's the great example to become the interdisciplinary. Now the next question, how you can become the interdisciplinary? What are the approach you can develop? So this is the very good tool that I have listed. These tools will help you to become the interdisciplinary. Like first, you have to define the problem, issues, topics, or question that wants interdisciplinary examination. Present a clear rationale for taking the interdisciplinary approach. Identify relevant discipline. Conduct a literature's review. Develop the understanding. Study the problem. Identify the conflict between the different discipline. Create a common ground. And then combine the interdisciplinary insights. So this is the way those students who are doing the PhD, that's very good way to become the interdisciplinary. You have to take the problem, provide the interdisciplinary insights, integrate the ideas, and then develop a real world understanding to your problems. And due to the interdisciplinary work, many fields have emerged, like the bioinformatics. It is the integration of chemistry, biochemistry, biology, statistics, mathematics, engineering, and computer science. And I'm sure that those guys who don't know chemistry, they can't understand modeling of the protein structure at all. They never understand drug discovery. If they are not they unable to understand the biochemistry, they don't know the use of the whatever the model they are using. So to become interdisciplinary, this vice versa, you have to know the different discipline and also develop a unified approach, develop a novel approach to solve the issue. That's what these bioinformatics have emerged, not I mean old field, but nowadays it is one of the most job earning, the most exciting area of the research. Like again in silico biology is the same, and all it can integrates all the field like the evolutionary genomics, omics, data, multi-modeling, network, all those things together. Similarly, nanotechnology I was talking about is nanotechnology is another very emerging area. Nowadays, the two areas, bioinformatics and nanotechnology, are parallelly evolved. At least from last 2 decades, if you see the number of papers, is a dramatic increase in the research because of their interdisciplinary nature. Main science are already saturated. That's what the people need a different approach. Like for example, nanotechnology, it is the amalgamation of chemistry, biology, engineering, medical science, all those things. And they have large number of applications like the energy, medicine, nano devices, optical engineering, defense and security, bioengineering, cosmetic, nanofibers. They have large number of applications because of the interdisciplinary nature. Even if you talk about the health, human health looks that is becoming the medical science. No, it also integrates a large number of fields together. If you want to get the insights into the human health, it is associated a large number of different disciplines together. Another example I'll give you to when you are always influenced by the history. So from this picture, you all know what I'm going to talk about. Leonardo da Vinci, you all know that he's famous for this Mona Lisa painting. But many of you don't know he was a father of anatomy. If you can say the father of anatomy, he have given the first concept that how human actually, I mean, what are the sexual phenomena and how they actually lead to the birth of the child. And that time, doing research on these things was banned, prohibited. So he used to go to the night in the graveyard, take the dead bodies, do the research, and in the morning he can dump it again. That's his contribution. And nowadays, if the people read his literature and people come to know that, okay, how the birth happened, how the development of child happened, that concept was given by the Leonardo da Vinci. So that's the, if you interdisciplinary thinking make the great people. I'm giving you another very interesting example. Many of you know, you don't know. You know the fasting, either you do fasting in Navratri or in the Ramzan. We have a very strong belief, and the belief is actually related to the Almighty, and that's why we do. There is no question that why you are doing the fasting. Okay, whether it is the Ramzan or whether it is the Navratri. And if you see, go to the any preachers, like the any Maulana or any Pandit will give you the preachers, they will give you all these cases se bahut fayde hote hain. It give you the taqwa, striving, refining manner, sensitivity, all these things you will get. But many of you don't know what is the science behind it. It have a very good, fantastic science behind it. So now if you explain the concept of this fasting, many people start fasting. I'll tell you, many of you from the biologists have already studied this phenomena, that the body, if you have the enough glucose in your body, it is stored into the in the form of glycogen. And if you don't, if you don't have energy, you need energy, glycogen is converted into the glucose and you need the supply of the body. Okay, so usually it looks very funny कि भाई पूरे दिन भूखे रहते हैं और एक ही बार शाम में भर के खा लेते हैं, क्या मजाक है. Even many people ask me, don't take it otherwise, but it is the fact. So this is the scientific basis. What happens actually for 1 month, what we are exercising, we are actually training our enzymes. Those enzymes, these are involved in this process कि glycogen को glucose में convert करना और glucogen को glycogen में convert करना. Generally आपसे सब कहेगा कि थोड़ा थोड़ा खाते रहो पूरे दिन, दैट्स द बेस्ट प्रैक्टिस, यही सुना होगा. अगर आप थोड़ा थोड़ा खाते हैं दिन, बहुत अच्छी बात है, इट्स वेरी गुड, आई एम नॉट अगेंस्ट दिस. बट एट द सेम टाइम दीज एंजाइम्स बिकम इनएक्टिव इन योर बॉडी. अब क्या होगा, अब सिंपल एग्जांपल दे रहे हैं, जिस बंदे को एसी में रहने की आदत है, उसको थोड़ी देर गर्मी लाइट चली जाए, ऐसा मौसम आ जाए कि लाइट नहीं है 1 दिन के लिए, 2 दिन के लिए, डू दे सर्वाइव? लेकिन अगर आपने अपनी हैबिट बना रखी है कि आप एसी में भी रह सकते हैं, धूप में भी रह सकते हैं, यू विल सर्वाइव. और nowadays so many happening in the world, like in the COVID time you have seen recently, the earthquake is there. You may get a chance to face this kind of issue. So if your enzyme is active, you have exercised your enzyme every year or every season, you will be surviving. So that's the real way to interdisciplinary thinking of the fasting. And also, if you are in fasting mode, your dead cells, there are many cells, you know, the formation of cells and killing of the cells, both the things are very dangerous. I mean, if there is any problem in the formation or even the clearing of the cells, there will be a lot of issues. Many disease, you might be knowing the lysosomal disease, which occurs only because of the improper processing of the biomolecules and that accumulate in the body, and that lead to a lot of diseases. So this is where this Nobel Prize, I think recent Nobel Prize given to this guy, Ushumi, he have given the concept that the autophagic cells, if you are in the fast, autophagic cells become very high, and that kills actually those dead cells. And that's what you have a very less chance to develop the cancer. This is the Nobel Prize reported. I'm not telling from my side. So that's come, and they have a lot of advantage of the autophagy, and that cells will be activated more if you are having the fast. And that's the Nobel Prize winner concept. And this is the more advantage of the understanding the religious basics, scientific basis of the religion. That will give you the idea if you are become an interdisciplinary. Another issue is very common if you have the idea about the Human Genome Project. It was already solved long back, but nowadays Government of India have started the Indian Genome Project. So people think that the Human Genome Project is a biological problem. No, it is the most interdisciplinary project where it is related to the society, related to the crime, related to the forensic science. I mean, it have a lot of discipline. You see what are the ethical, social, legal concerns related to the Human Genome Project. So whatever the biological things, if you don't have interdisciplinary thinking, you can't be even in the biology, you will be successful. And nowadays, the most common and most important interdisciplinary topic have emerged that called the artificial intelligence. And every successful people that belongs to the artificial intelligence, and that's the actually integrating the different disciplines together. And depending upon the what discipline you are working, people use the AI in all the different disciplines. Whatever subject you are subject matter, you can expert, you can integrate the deep learning or neural network data, chatbot, all these things in your research, and that enhance your understanding and proper understanding to the subject. Even you go to the social science. Social science is also very interdisciplinary, and you can see just I'm highlighting the issues. I mean the topic that these are the different issues. These are different new topic have emerged because of the social conservation science with the applied research, classical research, interdisciplinary research. Like computational social science, behavioral science, computational method and social psychology. All these things are अभी एडमिशन बड़े बड़े अच्छे अच्छे कोर्स में हो रहे हैं because these are the need of the today's, because people understand what the autophagy, why the autism is more prevalent in the society, why the psychiatric disorder are more prevalent in the society. So we have to understand the biology of the disease as well as the social importance, and that's why it is very important to become the interdisciplinary. Now, the next question, what are the challenges associated with the interdisciplinary thinking? It is actually very challenging subject. It is difficult to develop a career based on the continuous interdisciplinary nature. Because if you go to the job, they will ask you BSc किस subject में, MSc किस subject में, and there you will get the confused. Many jobs you will be barred from the getting application because you don't have MSc in chemistry. Although you are very good material scientist, but you don't get the job because you don't have degree in physics, like that. Then the current system of the academic advancement favors the independent investigator. Every teacher, every faculty, every people are named from a discipline. ये physics का teacher है, chemistry का teacher, biology का teacher है. Still, we need to become interdisciplinary. Most institution houses scientists in the discrete department. If a person in the department of physics, he must be from the physics. Ideally, it would not happen, but it happened. That's what the great challenge. If you applied for the chemical biology research project, chemistry वाले कहेंगे इनको biology नहीं है, chemistry नहीं आती, biology वाले इनको biology नहीं आती, and that's what. Although it is a way, having the very advantage that if you see the something working research on the chemistry biology interface, or similarly chemistry biology and information technology. It also takes a long time to assemble the different field, writing a paper together, lack of institutional support. These are some challenges. But at the same time, what discourage you and what encourage you to become the interdisciplinary? So for the funding, sometimes it encourage you also, because if you working in the like the people who are working on the chemistry biology interface, chemistry is saturated. So if they give the new way of thinking to the biological problem with the chemistry, their project are much appreciated. So it will give you the high chance to get the funding, new institutional structure, new department formation, new nature of subject, real life problem you can address easily, add the value to the existing research, academic success, specialist knowledge. These are the some advantage feature of the interdisciplinary that will encourage you to become the interdisciplinary. Now, the next question, how you can facilitate the research. Interdisciplinary research by definition requires to learn other discipline vocabulary, methods, and techniques. This requires effort to investment of the time. Of course, you need to invest the time, and the research involve most trust on each other, mutual benefits, mutual trust is actually required. So whenever you become the interdisciplinary, you have to develop the mutual respect and mutual. I'm giving you another example just to give you the insights. Like the Jagdish Chandra Bose, you all studied and you all know. But if you see his contribution, he is the first scientist to discover the plants are living beings and have the similar life cycle and function like the animals. As a biophysicist, he invested the chrysograph and instrument to measure the plant growth. So his contribution in the biology, but does he trained in the biology? He was actually physicist. He was actually started pioneered the investigation of the radio and microwave optics and all those things. So he was a physics guy, and his approach is only able to, biologists can't develop a method to measure the plant growth. That's what. So it is not a new thing. Interdisciplinary approach is not a new thing. It is from the older time, and I'm from the beginning I'm highlighting those who become interdisciplinary. They are successful because of their interdisciplinary thinking. And these are the some contribution you can see here, that the different field also he have done a lot of, and if you see, he's a physicist, biologist, biophysicist, botanist, and archaeologist. And Bose Institute in Calcutta is named on his name. You all know C.V. Raman, right? And C.V. Raman, you know that he's a physics guy, right? Because he received the Nobel Prize. Recently, we have celebrated the Science Day. But many of you don't know he is actually the CA. He was a chartered accountant. He actually started his career as a chartered accountant. And when he was taken the Indian Association of Cultivation of Science, they are one of the very good institute. He have taken the responsibility to ITR file and all those things. But while visiting the institute, he developed the interest in the physics, and later his discovery, you all know. So that's the way something have to ignite you, something have ignite you in such a way that you become. And I hope from after this lecture, some of the C.V. Raman may become, because his thinking was the different. So what motivates you to become the interdisciplinary researcher? New scientific and technological problems, example, biology, bioinformatics, nanoscience and technology, networking, complex system, and incentives, challenges, power, opportunity. These are the things will actually, but most important thing that it comes from your heart to become the interdisciplinary. Another example, like I'm talking about the stem cell research, is one of the very purely interdisciplinary research where the lot of social issues are there. And that's what it is equally the social science subject as well as the science subject there. And this is the last example and very fascinating example. And especially I am much fascinated with this example. You all know the Mendel very well, right? You call him as the father of genetics, right? And he have done a study. And you also know that he is the aesthetician. But you know from where he got the idea. He was, and also in the 12th class book you study, he was a monk. He was studying in one of the best church in Vienna, Austria. So he was actually living in the church, and he was actually monk. By subject, he was mathematician and aesthetician. From where he got the idea? That is very interesting story. I'll tell you. There is one prophet, his name is Jacob, they're listed in the Bible as a Jacob. And initially, मैं इस स्टोरी को बहुत अच्छे से बताना चाह रहा हूँ कि जब वो उनके मामा थे, वो उनको पालते थे, इनके फादर मदर नहीं थे, तो इनके मामा ही इसको पालते थे और वो अपने बकरियां चराने को देते थे। एक दिन इनको कहा कि भाई ऐसा है कि जो नेक्स्ट लॉट आएगा बकरी का, जब बच्चे जन्म लेंगे, तो मैं इनमें से तुम्हें इतनी 10 बकरियां 20 बकरियां तुम्हें दूंगा। तो इन्होंने क्या किया कि जो नेक्स्ट जनरेशन बकरे की आने वाली थी, तो इन्होंने जो बकरी की मैटिंग कराई, उन्होंने हेल्दी बकरे के साथ कराई, ताकि अगली जनरेशन में जो हेल्दी बकरा हमें मिलेगा तो हमारे पास भी बकरे ज्यादा होंगे। और दैट स्टोरी इज कवर्ड इन द बाइबल एंड आई थिंक ऑल्सो कवर्ड इन द कुरान ऑल्सो। फ्रॉम दैट स्टडी मेंडल गॉट द आइडिया कि अगर हेल्दी बकरे से मैटिंग कराई जाएगी तो बच्चा हेल्दी ही होगा। एंड फ्रॉम इंस्पायर्ड बाय दैट स्टोरी he was a statistician. There was a pea plant in the garden and he developed a strategy. And now we all know, I'm not going to teach you about the law of dominance and law of segregation, but they were inspired by the religious book. So if you become interdisciplinary, it is not possible to discover whether you belong to whichever the science. Nowadays, the new emerging things are coming very fastly, like the robotics. And you can see, read all these words. These are coming, all are the interdisciplinary. People are from the different discipline working together to develop the interdisciplinary things. ChatGPT have already revolutionized the research, but is also very interdisciplinary subject. So that will give you the holistic thinking. People from the engineering, mechanical, chemical engineering, they take protein as a wire, they can take protein as a. So people from the development of the many biological molecules for the teeth, brain, surgery, that needs the integration of the people from the different field together. Even disaster management is a purely interdisciplinary field nowadays. There is course in the disaster management, and you can see it integrates how many subjects together. Lastly, I'm giving you the successful example. Nowadays, everybody have their role model, Elon Musk. And you know, Elon Musk is one of the richest guy nowadays. But his main, if you see the one word, concrete word is actually he was the interdisciplinary. He worked in the OpenAI, he given the SpaceX, Tesla, all those things. So actually, if you read the story, you come with the one conclusion that he was a very, very interdisciplinary nature, and that's what he have not restricted. I have studied engineering, that's why I'm engineer. I have studied physics, that's why I physics. He think beyond the ball. Also, the two guys you all know, you are much familiar, and both of them are actually like the Steve Jobs, artist who transformed the technology. He was an interdisciplinary thinker who fused design, humanities, engineering, and intuition to create a product that redefined the industries. Bill Gates was also another great example. He had pioneered the interdisciplinary thinking technology as a businessman. And most importantly, if you come in the Indian context, that time the industrial revolution was much popular in the Western world, but he was the first person who had brought the industrial movement to India. India on wheel started because of his effort, and he was one of the great interdisciplinary guy. And that's what, if you see the growth of India, these two are the major pillar of the growth of India because of their who blended science, social reform, engineering, education to lay the foundation of modern India. So that's the very good example of the interdisciplinary research. And that's what the advantage of interdisciplinary, it actually gives you the authentic real life learning, increased critical thinking, highly engaging, highlight learner strength, open door to develop the interest, student centric, and benefit of the, these are the benefit. There are many new fields have emerged because of the I will add some more field there, like these are the new fields emerged. All they are the older field, but now it is in much demand because of the interdisciplinary nature. Like you talk the horticulture. Horticulture पहले भी plant उगाते थे लोग, but now horticulture integrated with the architect, integrated with the art, integrated with the craft, and then become a new field. So final suggestion and recommendation, especially to the student, you have to respect the all field, keep an open mind, listen deeply to ask the question, avoid preconception and assumption of the patronization, co-develop project guidelines for and respect the equality, acknowledge and demonstrate the appreciation to all contributors, undertake an early and joint activity to review publications, take time. And the successful interdisciplinary working is not just about the bringing two or more discipline. It is about to bringing and two people harmoniously together. By heart, they should come together. There are you. If you want to become a interdisciplinary, you have to collaborate. You have to communicate and adopt interdisciplinary thinking. So with this word, I am just closing my lectures. Ultimately, with this quote, interdisciplinary science needs open access because the traditional method do not provide effective way by which scientists can reach out to those unconnected fields. And the world of the human aspiration is the largely fictitious. If we don't understand this, we don't understand nothing. That's what, to see things, to see the science from open eyes, you have to become the interdisciplinary. Science have no country because knowledge belongs to humanity and is torch which illuminate the world. And interdisciplinary is the great profession. Thank you very much. If you have any question, I am happy to take.
Thank you so much, sir, for that excellent talk. And it was also very insightful to hear a lot of real world examples as well from you. So we do have quite a couple of questions that we usually get from students. But for the participants, if you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the chat box. In the meantime, I'll just quickly take up some of these frequently asked questions from students. So we hear a lot about AI and machine learning in topics like drug discovery. So, according to you, should biology students learn coding or should they collaborate with data scientists instead to work on such projects?
Yes, very good question, a very valid question nowadays in the perspective of the student. I think they can learn because nowadays learning is not a big deal. Earlier, if you want to learn coding, it is very hard. You have to go to the tutor, you have to find the people. Nowadays, AI itself will teach you also how to make the coding. But if you don't know coding, at least try to develop the attitude to have the, and in fact in my lab I am having the student who are coming from the biology. Now they are doing very good in the modeling and all, developing the code. So learning never, I mean, it is not कि मैं अब नहीं सीख सकता. You can, if you have the attitude, then definitely you will do. So I recommend to learn the coding because it's not a big deal nowadays. हाँ, 10 साल पहले थी बड़ी चीज, कोडिंग के लिए बहुत पढ़ना पड़ता था ये, but better to learn, especially in the drug discovery and all those things.
Perfect. Thank you so much, sir. And so, according to you, what are some interdisciplinary research areas that you believe are wide open for fresh ideas, especially for students from undergraduate and postgraduate that they can explore?
I have two answers. One is that every research, whatever you are doing, you can make it interdisciplinary. Okay. Whatever subject any student who are working, they can also make the interdisciplinary. They can think their own subject from the different angles. Second thing, there are many emerging areas like the AI you can take anywhere. Amalgamation of like the drug discovery is purely bioinformatics, multi-omics, I mean genomics, proteomics, metabolomics, whatever you are talking about, nanotechnology, then stem cell research, then if you go to the cancer research, diagnosis, all the diagnosis component of the are the interdisciplinary. Like the generally people develop the genomic signature as a biomarker, but how these biomarker get the improved sensitivity? So you have to collaborate with the people who are developing the good sensor, who are developing aptamer like that. So there are two ways. We always are open to become the interdisciplinary wherever I have to collaborate with the people from different things. And second, we also try to work those who are new. They try to select interdisciplinary areas because they have high chances to get the quality outcomes, or you can outcomes in the form of your selection or your employment, because people who are interdisciplinary, they have high chance to get the job. If you I'm talking in terms of the job opportunities, they have high chance to get the job.
Yes, sir. And just coming to the last point itself, FAIRS has posted a question. So, what opportunities can someone look into after completing a graduation in interdisciplinary science?
Can you repeat the question? I'll take chat box also.
Yes, sir. So the question is from Faiz. He's asking what are some job opportunities that he can pursue after graduation in interdisciplinary science?
Yes, there are many interdisciplinary sciences. They are mixing the two field together. I think I have listed in my PPT. I think just going back. Yeah, these are the some I have listed. But like nowadays I can't name particular courses, but there are many courses emerging. They integrate two different fields. Like the best example, like hospital management. Earlier, there was not course like hospital management. Now you have the hospital management. Similarly, medicals, one terminology and the other terminology from the social science or thing have integrated together. So there are many fields. I mean, you can see like, especially like you can say the horticulturist, fashion designer, biotechnologist. Again, biotechnology have a large number of different discipline together, forensic science. So these are but everywhere you become, my talk is not the what will give you the job. My talk is if you become whatever you are studying, if you become having the interdisciplinary thinking, if you integrate the interdisciplinary learning, you have high chances to answer the question and have high chances to get the good job opportunities.
Perfect. Thank you so much, sir. And many students, they want to reach out to professors for research project collaborations, but they don't know who's open to it, how to approach them. So according to you, what are some maybe strategies, or how can they identify such potential professors and how to communicate that?
Yes. I think there are many ways to communicate. Generally, if you mail the person who don't respond to you, because every day faculty are getting a lot of application. That's the one reason. That's what. Secondly, thing is that there are many opportunity. I think Confil one platform, especially for the bioinformatician, there's developed by some company, and they collaborated with the government of India. So you can, I'll share you the link. I think I can share you the link. I have to find out in my email. There you can register, and their faculty also register. Those, they always ask us to register as a faculty, and there you can opt based on your choice. So I think I can, if you allow me, I can take in a minute. I have to find out. I'll share you later. There is a one website there you can register also. It is the actually private public private partnership, and it have the collaboration with the government of India. So any government institute you can also. I mean, this INSA launch every year application for that training, and you have to do the personal email. These are the only available way. There nothing a special way to approach.
Thank you so much, sir. There is one interesting question from Stephen in the chat box. So he is asking, interdisciplinary science pose a great challenge with adoption from independent researchers, as they are also trying to protect their fields of interest from going extinct, which is not the purpose of interdisciplinary science. So how do we bypass this challenge?
Yes, this is a very good question. In fact, I have omitted some part of my slide to make it more visible to your platform. But it is the first sentence is that interdisciplinary doesn't mean it is against the discipline. Second thing, interdisciplinary is firmly rooted with the discipline. So interdisciplinary concept of interdisciplinary only comes from the discipline. So don't think it will eradicate or it will extinct the science or whatever the subject. For example, I'll tell you the example of the zoology. People studied a lot of about the many organism. Nowadays, kind of the database you can go and study. But if this subject will be extinct, then later who will know? So that's what this every subject is there. Only what we can facilitate, we can make a database. Computer scientists make a very good database, make the AI based tool to just scan and see which is fossil, what is this. But the real knowledge is always there. So it never get extinct actually. Yes, there is a, because everybody have the kind of attraction for the new subject. So it doesn't mean that everybody will go there. Of course, it is there, but the main subject is always there. And it is the, I told you two sentences. One is the interdisciplinary is firmly rooted to discipline. And if you want to become a interdisciplinary, you have to be perfect in the discipline also. If you don't expert of the discipline, you never be the for example, computer and biology. If you're not a good programmer, how you become a good bioinformatician? If you're not a good biologist, how you become a good bioinformatician? So it won't actually extinct the subject. And also I have one question, I got one question, immunology and bioinformatics. So immunoinformatics is one of the very emerging area, and especially the immunoinformatics people do design the different types of the and for the antibody development, people design the different what's it epitope designing. It's a full-fledged area. I will very job opportunities in the epitope designing area. There are many companies, they are designing the different epitopes, and of course it is integrates with the experimental validation. So immunoinformatics is one of the very well developed area that amalgamate the immunology with the bioinformatics. I mean computer science.
Thank you so much, sir. Do we have any further questions from participants?
Ma'am, hi, ma'am.
Yes, go ahead, Poovarsan.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I'm pursuing final year biomedical science student, ma'am, at Priya University, Tamil Nadu. I asked some questions for Sir, ma'am.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. First of all, thank you, sir, for the insightful session. It's very useful. And my question is, my background is biomedical science, like life sciences, similar to biotechnology. So, how to correlate this the interdisciplinary science in my studies?
Yours biomedical is itself very interdisciplinary. In biomedical science, you are studying what you are studying. Medical equipment you are studying. Are you studying medical equipment? Are you studying
Yes,
disease,
sir. Also,
biology?
particularly, I'm focusing on pharmacology and anatomy, human
Pharmacology,
anatomy.
I mean, your subject is already very interdisciplinary.
Okay.
So you have to develop, I mean, you have to see, for example, pharmacology. You have to see the pharmacology from the eyes of chemistry. You will definitely see the different thing. If you see the pharmacology from the biologist, what are the pharmacodynamics and kinetics and drug behavior, you will see the different. But how the pharmacokinetics connect with the chemical structure of the compound, right? That will help you to understand the real pharmacology. So there is an integration of chemistry with the biology here. So you should understand a structure, three-dimensional structure of the molecule, and then you can see, you can compare, one is a very good drug or one is a not drug. Structurally they look same. What are the difference between them? Only because of certain chemical moiety they make different. Just a minute. Okay.
Right, till then, if the participants have any other questions, you can post them.
Yeah, I think it's done. The scope of nanotechnology is everywhere. You can have
Sir, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay,
So
so I guess
thanks a lot for giving me a platform and interacting with the young minds. And I hope this lecture was useful for the, especially for the student. And after this lecture, you develop the interdisciplinary approach in your learning. That's my main request.
perfect. Thank you so much. And the talk was completely inspiring as well to look into new opportunities and
Yes.
also reaching out to experts in such field. So thank you so much, sir, for taking your time and discussing with us today on this topic. Thank you once again. So for participants who are interested in learning maybe more about some of these topics that are there in bioinformatics, we do have some upcoming programs that you can think about, long-term and short-term programs, as well as a research program. So I'll just quickly take you through it. And if you're interested to learn more about any of these programs or workshops, you can definitely reach out to us. And we will also email you all of these brochures and flyers so that you can have a look at it. So this Saturday, we are having an international summer program on AI and ML for omics data analysis, and it will be taught by Professor Graham. And he is an expert with over 32 years of experience in guiding students on working on AI and ML projects and on omics. And it will be conducted over weekends on Saturdays. And there will be also a capstone project opportunity towards the end of the program. That is one program. And additionally, if you're someone who is looking into get a diploma in NGS technologies and applications, we also have an IIT Jodhpur program, 12-month, one-year program that we are conducting. It will be a hybrid program and it will consist of weekend online classes with a campus immersion at IIT Jodhpur. So that is another. Now, if you're someone who is looking into more short-term training aspect, maybe like a 3-day or a 2-week workshops, then we have few of these upcoming. So one is on Python-powered molecular modeling. This will be a 2-part workshop series. Workshop 1, I will be covering beginner level topics, and also a part 2, where I'll be covering some more advanced topics. So this will be a 2-week workshop in total. And we also have another workshop on metagenomics and NGS. So if you're someone who is curious to explore this, you can join here as well. So this will be also conducted over weekends on Sundays. And another workshop that we have is on RNA-seq data analysis, which will be a 4-day workshop. It will be particularly focused on downstream data analysis and biological interpretation. And then we also have another 2 more workshops on genomics. One will be on clinical genomics, which will be particularly suited for clinicians, geneticists, pathologists, participants from those areas. And we also have one on bacterial genomics, so which will be focused mostly on genome annotation and data analysis. We will be exploring several databases as well on bacterial genomics. Now, if you're someone who is interested to work on a research project under the guidance of a mentor, this is a separate program that we offer. So here you'll be working under the guidance of a mentor on a proposed research topic, or you can also join any of the ongoing research projects that we have. And it will initially include a basic level of training on one of these topics. It could be genomics, transcriptomics, metagenomics, depending on your area of choice. And finally, you will be working with the mentor through live classes. Once a week, you'll be meeting with the mentor over Zoom call. They'll be working on your research project, carrying out the analysis and reporting your findings to the mentor. So this can be undertaken as a part of your dissertation, or if you want to do it as a part of publication, that would be also possible. So we'll be happy to share all of these details over an email. So just keep an eye on your email inbox if you're interested to learn more about it. So that's all from my end. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining today's webinar.
Ma'am, one second, ma'am.
Yes, sure. Go ahead.
You provide any certification, ma'am, in this session?
For the webinar, no. But for the workshops or the programs, yes. Once you complete it, you'll be getting a certificate.
Ma'am, okay, ma'am. This session.
No, for the webinar,
Now?
No, there isn't.
Okay, okay.
Yes. Any other questions? All right. If you have any questions, you can definitely reach out to us via email on communication@omicslogic.com, and we'll be happy to assist any queries that you might have. So thank you so much, everyone, and we look forward to meeting you in future workshops or programs where we could interact and get to learn more. Thank you.